our journey began on a gentle sloping plains on the outer edge of a large island. I wasted no time gathering the first tools, resources, and crops I came across. There are a lot of new exciting crops in the Farm and Charm pack, most of which can pretty easily be found while exploring. Strawberries, wild nettle, beetroot, lettuce, and corn were quick to spot during my time exploring the new home. As night closed in, I stumbled into a village on a stony shore. The loot really wasn't very impressive, but I did make sure to tag their waystone, and as I sailed across the coast, I came across a shipwreck. I'm not really sure how I feel about the Wakes mod. It adds some nice visuals to the water, but these clipping into the boat took some getting used to. I swear, this seed is blessed. Just off the opposite side of the island from the last village was a teeny tiny mangrove swamp with its own residents. With a newfound understanding of the region, I set to work clearing space for my future builds. The ground needs to be pretty clean for me to be able to effectively visualize my builds, and a water bucket makes this a super quick project. The terrain already has a lot of beautiful slopes and curves, and for the most part, I'm going to try and lean into that. I'm thinking the area to the left will be perfect for a windmill, and on this level, I'm going to focus on livestock, some kind of setup with a barn, a coop, and maybe even some stables. Terrain shaping in 3, 2, 1. I want this to feel like a developed town and not a rough-spun settlement, so some areas will have walls that separate the different levels. Getting the basic terraforming out of the way allowed me to imagine what sort of structures I might want where, the first step to any real village build. Stone was nice, but I was about ready to upgrade my tools. Luckily, there was an abandoned mine shaft just under the base. I think it's a Young's mod that creates these structures, and I absolutely love exploring them. I gathered a steady amount of copper and a few bits of treasure before I ran out of food and had to return to the surface. The copper will be great for making tools without having to waste any precious iron. Looking back, I wish I'd made this pen larger to start, but they'll eventually be moved to a proper barn anyways. With the start of a livestock supply secured, it was time to plant our first field. This wheat would serve more their benefit than mine, but I do love to look at a large field around the windmill. Guess who's wildly indecisive? That's right, it's me. For the majority of this stage of the plan, I thought I really wanted to use an orange terracotta, wood, and granite palette to make something super moody and autumnal. So I made a nature's compass and ventured thousands of blocks to a badlands to fill my pockets with terracotta. After which, I made a new bestie, gathered a bunch of spruce materials, and then circled back to a stony shore to gather granite. So this is the tentative palette I was planning to work with. Either a dark oak or spruce wood, stone bricks, smooth red sandstone, orange terracotta, and granite. It all looked good together in theory, and the outline had lots of great levels that should have created a really nice shape. But when it was all said and done, I just hated it. It felt too Minecraft-y. So it's gone now. I was feeling a bit disheartened and overwhelmed at this point because I hate when things don't work out for me on the first try. So I got to work creating a pathing system that would make traveling around easy, but also split everything up into bite-sized boxes that I could label with signs. Obvi, there needs to be lots of farms in various types and sizes. With the village sectioned up, I wanted to try making a starter house again. I went through my old tutorials and thought a cute hobbit hole wouldn't be a bad idea. And then the bad ideas entered the chat. My heart was holding on to the idea of the orange terracotta, but if any of you have watched me for a while, you know I absolutely hate color. I destroyed this build too, with my sights now set on remaking this yellow cottage. A more suburban vibe would really suit the farming sim I was making here, and yellow is still an autumny color. I would like to take a moment to thank this video's sponsor, me. I love me, and you'll love me too. So make sure to subscribe so we can both keep seeing more me. The sandstone base was done, which meant heading deep into the earth in search of diamonds. Why, you might ask? Well, the outer edges of the roof are outlined in quartz for this build, which meant taking a trip to the nether. I'd already explored quite a bit down here, so the first diamond wasn't too hard to find. While hunting for more, I found myself trapped in a desperate situation. Thankfully, my quick wit got me out with little trouble, and on my way to the next batch of diamonds. Can someone tell me why this didn't work? It would not let me pick up that source block, so I had to go back into the mine to make my obsidian. I swear I've done that before with lava, but it was just not getting in a bucket. My plan is to build the windmill around the portal so it's not noticeable from the outside, but still easily accessible. The universe was not on my side with this one. There were not one, but two gas immediately around where I'd spawned. Thankfully, I'm a cheater, and took care of that with god powers. Literally play games however you want, who cares? There wasn't as much quartz around as I would have liked, since I'll be using it for the other buildings as well, but it was just enough to finish my house. I was also super lucky and spawned right next to a bastion which had red nether brick I thought would be perfect for a chimney. With the dye from some flowers I'd found earlier, I made a few sets of light gray windows and the main structure was complete. So the last time I went back for more quartz, a horse followed me through the portal. I'd never seen this happen before and was definitely more than a little amused. After I got him saddled, he carried me to the riverbed where a bunch of wild clay waited to be harvested. I threw that clay into a furnace to cook into bricks, and then played around with some furniture styles and placements. Sometimes I prefer the monochrome look, but in this case, the birch furniture blended in way too well with the materials around it. Even oak was a bit too close to the walls for my taste. I have the materials and option to craft this supply cart and plow, but as of yet they can't be placed and don't seem to have a real function. So I got back to work decorating instead. Naturally, you can't have spooky season without a jack-o'-lantern or two. Have any of you heard that TikTok sound? It's really not that bad. It just needs a little shaping. And voila. With a return to the granite and a swapping of some wood decor for darker variants, we now have a beautiful autumn cottage. I really love the tone this sets for future builds here and can't wait to see the whole village together. If this video is a lesson in anything, it's to not give up when something unwelcome guest. Anyways, don't give up when your builds make you want to cry. You can just destroy them and build something new. Also, don't be afraid to mix materials. Once the bricks finished baking, I was able to make a stove and bake the first recipe of the season, stuffed chicken, which can be placed and looks so yummy. And that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.